I think the next person is Dr. Grossman. I know you got to load up your...
News that I'm waiting to have published, and this has been published in one of those articles out of London. I'd like to see it published here. Next slide. Some pretty flowers, but not for ornamentals. Next slide. Medicines. Industrial uses. Okay, next slide. All right. Description of Hermann's, of the medical garden in Mrs. Kirsten, Dr. Kirsten's plot, commensurate with the species diversity of medicinal plants we recovered from his systems. Okay, next slide. All right. Costello, I'm not going to go into the whole arguments, but I have a lot of background work research in intelligence espionage history. And I had problems with Costello after the excavation because we didn't find perpendicular houses. We didn't find what were depicted by Costello. What we found were more open compounds, right? And houses parallel to the street. The only thing perpendicular was Hermann's warehouse. Everything else was in a different orientation. Next slide. No. So, never given much credence by Stokes was this inset map that just got published in the 1997 book, Manhattan Maps, by a French spy of Manhattan. Now, there's a number of us are beginning to question the veracity of the Costello plan. The rectilinear lots, without going into it, are more like 18th century British sensibilities than they are the Dutch reality of the 17th century. And what we look at here is we look at this. This is this spy map meant for military minds how to get enter a city without dying, all right? Points of defense and thing. And this is our block with buildings parallel to Pearl and lot lines that don't match 18th century lot lines, right? So I said, let's play. So I took this and I put it in a digital space. Yep, okay. See the perpendicular lot lines and stuff. Next one, right? Took it in digital space, blew it up, lock it in. Now, Costello has the wall of Wall Street as a straight line. Wall Street's not straight. It curves up here at Broadway, right? The spy map shows the wall with a corner at Broad Street at an angle, okay? It fits the topography of the 17th century island. Okay, next slide. All right, boom. When you look at the vertices of juncture between the topography and the spy map, every angle and point locks in. In terms of spy maps, that's good. All right, next slide. All right, then what did it look like inside? Was it 18th century God's universe, rectilineal aligned, or was it more medieval? Because what I began reading was that the Dutch didn't have fancy gardens until after William and Mary in 1680. Didn't exist. They had fruit and vegetable, berries. So I took this and I said, oh, let's blow it up a couple of hundred times. Look at these little rectilinear gardens with fruit trees on the corner. Separating where? Animals separated by an interior fence from the gardens. Medieval settlement patterns. Parallel buildings. Interior sheds. Next slide. Blow it up more. I said, all right, let's make this in 3D. All right? So I started playing with that. Next slide. And this is a 3D model with the species identified based on the archaeology and the ethnobotany reference to the spy map. Now, I'm not saying what this is what it looked like, but this is what it may have been similar to in the early 17th century. All right, I'm not going to even go into Costello ordinances. That's another whole big issue. But there's a number of us, both in Holland and here, and in other fields, that are beginning to have some questions. And it raises the question of always having to balance the different data sets. One's not right, but it sure mixes up the pot.
You know, Joel,
Yes, sir.
I think it would be very interesting to compare that military plan with Burgess's view.
I haven't thought of that. That's a good idea.
Because Burgess's view, I don't know how accurate that is, but he seems to be going. It seems like he was here. That he was doing it somehow from what he saw.
Right.
And there are some similarities with some known things. That was one of the things that I noticed of one of the discrepancies with Costello is that the Costello plan, which is supposed to be 1660, is showing Leisler's house, which was built in 1670.
Right.
Which you can see Leisler's house on. You can see Leisler's house depicted on the 1717 drawing. But I'm wondering how it would bear out, how some of these other buildings would bear out, the ones that are running up the street.
These are probably before 1660.
Joel, I think we're going to stop here because we got people got to catch a train. I would like Julie to give her a chance to make this presentation. And any comments you have, comments said by
Well, it's on
anybody,
the website. You know, it's on the website.
I'd like to hear about it.
Thank you so much.
And here's copies for everybody for being such a good audience.
And we can try to get to the next one. Okay. Okay, so